So it's 2025 and you're considering, should I buy a Vita? Well, it depends. I've had the Vita since launch. I remember buying it and actually having a blast. I played through numerous games as Gravity Rush, Uncharted, and I had a blast with it. But now, pretty much 13 years later, is it still worth it? Well, I would say it depends on your use cases. If you are already in the PlayStation ecosystem, I would say that you would probably find something you can enjoy, especially if you were a member of PS Plus back in the day. In the days where you had cross-buy between the PS3 and Vita and stuff like that, and if you were a PS Plus member, you got a bunch of free games. A lot of them were actually also for the Vita, so I added some PS3 games to my library back in the day, and then whoops, I have a Vita version. This is all assuming you want to keep it on an official firmware, which you read on online, it's no reason to do because you have proprietary memory cards that cost a fortune, and if you mod it, you can pretty much get a normal SD card with an adapter. And blah blah blah, there's no risk of getting banned and whatnot, but I've kept this on an original firmware simply due to trophies. They say there has been no bans for having a custom firmware, etc., but my account again is linked to the PS5 ecosystem, and I've spent a lot of money on additional games, so just to be on the safe side, I'm keeping it on an official firmware. I've had custom firmware before, so I'm familiar with it, but I also got a nice little collection of games for it. That's why I'm keeping it on official firmware, because I have some retail games for it, and I have a bunch of digital games that I got over the years. So for me, it's not a big loss either way. But the most easy solution would obviously be to have a custom firmware. So the 1000 or the 2000 model. The 1000 model is pretty much the premium edition, I would say. It has a bit of a more weight to it. It has less plastics, so it feels more premium in the hands. The screens, I would say, are better on the 1000 models, as it has an OLED screen. The 2000 models, it has an LCD. It also has inbuilt memory, which might tip it towards your as a favorite for you. It depends, because once the memory card goes on these Vitas, you are pretty much screwed. So if you're planning on keeping it on an official firmware, the 2000 model with 1 GB of inbuilt memory might tip you over that way, as you can still have a usable system once the memory card goes. I would also be aware that the PS Store is functional, but you need to jump through a bunch of hoops to buy digital games. Sony also disabled the ability for publishers to put video games on sale digitally, so you're pretty much locked to these prices. And you also have to add to your balance via a web browser. You cannot buy directly without any credit in your wallet on the PS Store. It's the same as the PS3. So keep that in mind. So if you're going digital, I would think twice, because there's no telling when they will shut down the store entirely, to be honest. Actually, voice chat, party chat works perfectly fine. You can use party chat with PS5 and still chat with your friends. It's pretty cool. Trophy support, which is a cool thing. You have a bunch of trophies you can get on the Vita games, if that's your thing. I enjoyed pretty much, so for me the Vita is a cool machine. Just put it into Jack and Daxter. It's the Vita port. It received quite a bit of PS3 ports, but unfortunately the frame rate is pretty much atrocious across the boards on many of these ports. It's serviceable, but it's really bad, so to speak. Let's just load in and I'll show you. And here we are. And it's pretty choppy. It's absolutely pretty choppy, but it's serviceable. It works, and that's pretty much most of the Vita library summed up. It would probably be better just getting a Switch Lite or something these days. For me, it's a bit of nostalgia involved since I bought this console on launch and had a blast. But I mean, the ergonomics of it is still amazing to this day. It feels amazing to hold in hands. And if you're going to buy a Vita, make sure there's some games you like for it, or make sure there are a bunch of PSP or PS1 games you also like for it. If you only want to play PSP games, I would honestly just pick up a PSP. They're way cheaper and you'll have no compatibility issues. So please bear that in mind. So, talking about games, I would really recommend Luminous if you're into puzzle games. Play it with a good headset. It's real cool. In terms of exclusives, you have Uncharted, which is, it's really cool. But the only annoyance is that you're bound to the back plate of the Vita has a touch panel, and a lot of puzzles require the use of the touch panel. It can get a bit tedious. It was a nifty little feature back in the day, but now it's just more annoying. But I liked it. It was a fun little story, and it was pretty fun. Other games I can recommend for this system will be Gravity Rush. It's also on PS4, but I haven't played it since pretty much the Vita came out, so I can't remember how the frame rate was, but I had a blast on it, got a platinum. If you're into shooters, these are pretty much the games with Resistance. None of them are remarkable at all, I would say. First-person shooters, they're pretty mediocre, so to speak. This is pretty much a PS3 port of Ninja Gaiden Black or Sigma. And if you like action games, this is a must-have. So, the bottom line, should you buy a Vita in 2025? To sum it up, if you are interested in the games of the Vita, absolutely. Just get it. They're still affordable. But if you're not really into the games and you're buying it more for PS1 or PSP playback, I would just get a PSP. They're cheaper, they're sturdily built, and if you're a physical collector, you can also get the UMD discs for the PSP. And it plays PS1 games. So, I like the Vita. I feel like it's worth buying. But all depends if you like the games or not. Thanks for watching.